truth and the light. We live by faith and laugh by sight. Living on hope. You are the way, the truth and the light. We live by faith and laugh by sight. Living on hope. Come on, let's hear it. You are the way, the truth and the light. We live by faith and laugh by sight. For you. Living on for you. One more time. Truth and the light. We live by faith and laugh by sight. For you. Living on for you. One way. Jesus. One way. Jesus. One way, Jesus. One way, Jesus. You're so much with your majesty, oh Father, and open up our eyes.
Alright, so this week's title, we're starting a new series called Made to Worship, Not Sleep In. As most of you already know, I play baseball like a crazy person. Every week I was in baseball, especially when I was in college, I traveled all over the place. Playing baseball. Times that I had off, I only had off a month and a half out of the year. And I'm sorry, I did not want to get up for church. You know, guilty as charged. So, but the thing is, I'd be at home and I'd be sleeping Sunday at 10:30 in the morning. I get a knock on my door every single time. Knock, 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 without fail. And it was a friend of mine. The really poor thing is that Gene was a brand new Christian. I'm talking about within weeks. And here's me, the guy who grew up in church, a PK, a pastor's son, and I'm sleeping in. And I did not give a very good example by sleeping in every single Sunday and then getting mad at him for knocking on my door. Sometimes I would pretend I wasn't even there and just kind of put headphones on and try to sleep. Our worship is not necessarily supposed to be limited to just within the confines of the holy sanctuary being church. It's not. But oftentimes we go to church, we worship, we have a great time, but we leave it there. We leave, we go home, and we live out our own lives. Worship is for church, not for our daily lives. First I want to talk about, I got a couple points to make tonight. First I want to talk about how we worship currently. And I'm not meant to target any one specific person. I'm not saying that you guys are victim of this necessarily, but oftentimes, you ever go to like a youth rally or something, or even church, right? And there's that one person that you know. You're not like amazing friends with them, you know of them, you're kind of friends with them. You know their walk is not consistent with the way they act in church, right? In church, it comes time for like the altar call, and they're the first person to kind of run up, throw their face in the ground, throw the whimper thing, but then later on that week, like let's say you go to school with them, you're overhearing a story about them going out and getting plastered, right? So is them getting plastered consistent with them kind of falling on their face every single week saying, God, you're amazing, I worship you, I praise you? No. Not really, not really. Now here's the thing. You might be fooling the people around you in church, but you will never fool God when it comes to matters of the heart. You can't. You can't. So the thing is, you're worshiping to please God. It's all for the glory of God. So if you're only supposed to do that for the glory of God, and God knows the true feelings of your heart and the true sincerities of your heart, what's the point of doing it then? Right? What is the point of doing it then? God doesn't care if someone else thinks that Joe Schmo's, he's a good worshiper. He doesn't care about that. God cares about the sincerity of your heart and of your worship. Now, in the Bible here, this is a great description of what true worship is. It's found in Romans 12, verses 1 and 2. We're reading, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies a living and holy sacrifice, acceptable to God, which is your spiritual service of worship. And do not be conformed to this world, but be conformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable, or well-pleasing and perfect. This passage is awesome. It really outlines. True worship is God-centered worship. What we might understand is the only person worthy of worship, praise and worship, is God. No one or nothing. True worship is felt inwardly, and then it comes out through our actions. Remember I was talking about before, about that example, about that person who goes to church, goes through the motions of worship, but because it's not sincere worship, when it comes to projecting that worship, it's so obvious that it's fake. God can see through every single one of our hypocrisies. Every single one. I said it before. You can't hide from God. You can't pretend in front of other people and think that God's going to like that. You can't ride the wave of someone else's sincerity, someone else's purity, and think that by riding their coattails that's going to grant you a great reward in heaven. You can't ride anyone else's coattails. You can only ride yourself. That's it. Yourself. That's it. So if you have a friend that's like an amazing worshiper, and this person, he or she loves to worship God, and is consistent in his worship at church, at school, at work, family, and friends, just because you're friends with them doesn't mean that your name is also going to be in the Lamb's Book of Life. It doesn't work that way. At all. We go to church, we sit down with our family, we say hello to a couple people, and what starts? Music, right? Praise and worship. As we define, we label the music as praise and worship. Okay? So we go through the motions of praise and worship. The music starts, right? Music starts, and you see a couple people in front of you lift their hands, and something inside of you says, I have to do the same thing. And you end up doing the same thing. It's just like this weird domino effect type of thing. So you all end up doing this. But this is a rhetorical question, so I don't want you to answer this. I just want you to answer yourself inwardly. Do you honestly know why you're doing that? Do you know why you're lifting up your hands to heaven? Is there a reason that you're lifting up your hands to heaven? Is there a reason that you're singing the songs? Do you like to hear your own voice? Do you think you sound good? Side note, you probably can't sing, so you probably sound really bad. But